This is Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. An informal chats with top business moguls as they share their stories of failure and success in a fun and relaxed way. Get entertained, educated, and unlock the secrets to success.
Welcome to Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman. I'm back with Tina Loyd, who's the owner of Terry Costa in Dallas, Texas. Terry Costa is a prom and wedding dress store. They also provide formal dresses for nearly any occasion. Tina, it's good to have you back.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me back.
I learned that you grew up in Missouri in a small town the last time.
Yes, that's
Grew up
correct.
on a farm?
On a farm, yes.
It's incredible. And then you landed in Dallas. Before I moved to Dallas and Texas in 2019, I'd been here a few times before, but probably where you grew up is what I thought of Dallas. I remember the Dallas show, but I thought, kind of rural and animals and farming, and it still is outside of the city area. But that was kind of my vision for Texas.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Perhaps maybe that's why I like Dallas so much, because I don't think I could. New York would have been really, really challenging for me, along with Chicago or anywhere like that. So I
kind of a balance between. This
is a nice little balance. I got to have some trees and birds and I got to have some nature. Right. Yes.
And I lived in Southern California, which was absolutely beautiful, by the way. But there's something really special about Texas. I never thought that I would spend a lot of time in Dallas or in Texas in general. It's an incredible state, great business community. There you can go, so it takes 10 hours to drive between Dallas and El Paso, and maybe 8 to 10 hours to drive to south part of Texas. It's a massive state. But within that driving area, you can come across towns like Dallas and Fort Worth and Austin and Houston. And then you come across these wonderful farming communities, which is just amazing. In Texas. Yeah.
Yes, Texas is a great state, very business friendly. So I'm really grateful that I landed in Texas. I thought about going to California for a while, and I'm sure California's got its strong points, but I am grateful that I landed in the great state of Texas. Yes.
Now, how did you select Texas out of curiosity? I know that you small town, and you said that you were looking to move beyond. You got into fashion pretty early on, just from pageantry and some other items. But how did Texas become top of your list as you were exploring options?
Well, there was several things. When I was young in college, we would come to the Dallas market, the old apparel market.
Interesting.
And a group of us models would drive from Missouri to be fit models. So I was somewhat familiar with Dallas and really liked it.
How far of a drive was that?
It's 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Okay. So, which we would make in the middle of the night, but we did it. But when I was modeling and doing that fit modeling, I met a company called Precious Formals.
Right.
And that company, I went to work for them for a couple of years. It was supposed to be 2 months, but 2 months turned into 2 years. And then I met Terry, and she, invited me to come to Dallas. And it was a big decision for me when I was,
So you came once you met the founder of Terry Costa. That was when you arrived in Texas. Oh, very interesting.
Right. Well, she was one of my clients when I was on the wholesale side. And at that time, it was a big decision for me to decide, where to go, because I was done working on the wholesale side with that particular company, and I said, okay, I could come to Dallas, or I could go to LA and really give that whole modeling and acting thing a swing. And then I thought, I really need a paycheck. Right. Just to be very open. And so I came here, and then one thing led to another. I started, became the general manager within 11 months.
Oh, wow.
And then started making changes. And then I earned a percentage of the company and bought it out in 2007.
Now, I know you can't speak for Terry Costa, and I want to come back to her in a moment, but that is a quick growth. So she saw something special in you. Did you see the same thing that she saw in you at that moment? And about how old, if you don't mind me asking, about how old were you at that point from a growth perspective as an adult?
I was 26 at the time.
So you were really young by the time she gave you that nod as the general manager.
Yes. So
that's amazing.
I was pretty young,
Yes.
but I would say that there was something special. It's hard to put your finger on it, but I always felt something special, along with a few of the other of my clients, about Terry. And one of the things that Terry was one of the first people to ever give me a big break, so to speak. And I think one of the things that I tried to pass forward that Terry gave to me was she looked past my flaws. And she looked past my weaknesses, saw my strengths, and pointed out my weaknesses. And helped me with those. Where a lot of people hadn't, no matter how many pageant coaches or that I'd hired and so forth. But she would tell you when something was wrong, if you wanted to hear it or not. And which I find, and I'm very grateful for today. And she also looked past those and gave me opportunities.
What sounds neat, though, is that, and we've discussed this quite a few times on our program, Business Decoded, is that what's neat is that you were willing to hear it and willing to listen at your stage in your career. I think sometimes people kind of block out when they hear something that they don't want to hear. And it prevents them from being able to grow, it sounds.
Podcasts are so popular, even monkeys are doing it.
75% of Americans listen to podcasts monthly. That's 210 million people in the United States alone. And yes, podcasts are profitable. Joe Rogan is making $30 million per year. Your content, your knowledge is worth sharing. Don't just dream it, do it. Visit andycostafilms.com/podcast. and turn your content into leads.
We're constantly growing as individuals, so I'm constantly hearing things I don't want to hear. But I think that's just part of life. Yes.
And I think you heard, and I don't remember the quote exactly, but I think you mentioned a quote in our last show, but in your stand-up, you mentioned Les Brown.
Yes, I love Les Brown.
So tell me about that quote and why that was important for your stand-ups. And I will say this as well, that on your stand-up, what I found amazing, it wasn't a top-down only approach. Now, you gave advice, you gave some statistics, and you gave numbers, but you were also very inclusive in doing exactly what you just described to Terry Costa. You gave your team members a leadership role in that process, so they began discussing where the company stood and the daily numbers, the monthly numbers, etc., which I just found impressive. You were motivating them through giving them power to express content as well from a business. But tell me about Les Brown, though.
Well, Les Brown was a motivational speaker that I actually was introduced to when I was modeling. I used to teach modeling classes, and so my modeling agent introduced me, and I thought, wow, this is fabulous, because I'd never even been exposed to anything like that at all, ever. And I remember watching him on the Tube TV. Les
Brown was a really big deal as a motivational speaker.
Yes, he was. And so the quote that I used today in the meeting was, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So that's just, goes back to doing the best you can with what you got.
Yes.
And so, if you've done everything you can and you're prepared for that opportunity, hopefully it'll come. And it might not come, but I will say that I feel very blessed and fortunate to some of the people that have walked through these doors. I never know who's going to walk in next.
That's true.
And I don't know who they are. It's probably better that way because otherwise I get all nervous. But, I just feel really blessed, and we work very hard to be prepared for the next opportunity.
Well, and that quote is so, if there's anything I think people should take away from this specific discussion is that quote. And I think that is reflected in how you treat your team and being prepared, because you never know when that opportunity will come. I tell business leaders this all the time, that if you do everything well, you don't know when that great big moment will happen, when you become viral or when your business sales will take off, but you need to be prepared for that moment, no matter what.
That's correct. I think recently COVID was probably the latest time that we were all tested on that, in an extreme. And so we built a new website during COVID and kept on working and doing the best we could with what we had. And I'm like, we're just going to keep going. Keep going. And we were very fortunate and played those cards very well and very fortunate to be in Texas because there was a big boom for us right after COVID.
Right. Now, So we're filming in your store. We're filming near a runway. And as you're talking, I'm seeing people trying on dresses walking by.
I know why I wanted this side.
It's such an amazing experience to see people in these beautiful gowns walking by as we have this taping. But it's such a neat place. Tell me about your seasons from a prom perspective. So we're at the beginning of 2026, which is just so amazing to say. It's hard to believe. I remember 1999 transitioning to 2000 was a big year. But we're in 2026. You have your 2026 prom dresses ready to go, and your wedding dresses are ready to go. What is your season? When do your brides start coming into the store? When do prom high schoolers start coming into your store?
So the light switch goes on here on December 27th.
Nice.
So
right.
Ready or not, here it is. So all the prom girls arrive at the same time because everyone's done with the holidays pretty much. And then also the brides have their new rings. So they are like ready to go. And so we got a whole new crew. So we get very busy from January to April.
Okay.
In March.
For both of those, for prom and for
bridal. It's all or nothing for us.
Wow.
And so we get extremely busy. So we will do 5 to 7 times the volume in those months than we will do in our slow summer months or our slower winter months.
Okay.
We do get a little bit of a busy season during our homecoming fall season when everyone goes back to school. Everyone kind of gets in the rhythm and summer vacations are over. But, and then we slow back down. So it really gives us as a business owner, it's kind of a blessing because I have a chance to work like in the seasons. I'm working in the business, but in the off season, it gives me an opportunity to work on the business.
Okay. That's fairly fascinating. Every industry has its own cycle. So I was talking to someone the other day about the manufacturing and distribution process in preparing for Christmas and the December holiday season. These companies aren't ordering their Christmas items in November. Right, they're placing those orders pretty early in the year, January at the latest, maybe February. Then they're getting built and shipped and then distributed to the stores in early fall in preparation for December, November, Thanksgiving, and December, Christmas. And yours sounds like yours is the same. So weddings might occur in the summer, right?
Yes.
Months, but they're getting their dresses far in advance of those wedding days.
Yes, so they're getting their dresses, they're buying them in January, February, preparing for the summer weddings.
Right.
A bridal gown takes about 3 to 4 months to get in.
Okay.
We do sell right off the rack here as well. But it could be in stock and we could get it sooner. But, to kind of keep all your options open, we recommend that a bride shops at least 6 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So, really, if you're here in January, we're getting ready for your June, July wedding.
Sure.
So it really keeps us very, very busy in season.
Right. That's pretty amazing. So I think on the last program you mentioned having the ability to lay away a dress as an option. And you have a lot of different options. And one of the items that I also read on the website was getting that fitting. Right. And then whether or not you have all the dress sizes in store. So it works a little different from a department store.
Yes. So we do special orders. We sell off the rack, okay? And we also do a lot of special orders here. So we have an entire team dedicated to managing our special orders, basically.
Sure.
And so if we've got a dress and you're wanting, a different size or a different color, we can order that. We can have it shipped to your doorstep, complimentary, or it can come here for complimentary steaming, and you pick it up here and try it on. So it's really kind of like what, the style that you want to go by. We do... we only require half down for the special orders, and layaways, we only require half down to put it on layaway for 60 days.
So, Tina, you missed telling me some about these other features that you offer, like the steaming, the free. What else do you offer? That's a great, for a wedding dress, that's actually an important item.
That's an important item. So basically the dress will come in and we steam it the first time.
Sure.
And a lot of times the brides like to do photos or something in between. And then we want to do like one final pressing like right before the wedding. So we do one final steaming right before the wedding as just a complimentary service.
Now, alterations, those happen outside or inside of your...
They happen outside. However, we do have we have a list of tailors throughout the Metroplex that we refer, in addition to Legacy Tailor, which is actually just a little 30-second jot down the sidewalk. And she's expanding. So her business is booming. I've worked with with her for over 20 years. So her and Wade are doing an excellent job, Nagua and Wade.
So what do you have? I know that you walk through a lot of your internal business numbers, but if you had to estimate how many brides and prom people come through, high schoolers come through for their prom dress, what do you think that number looks? I don't even know how to even guess that from a business. I spend a lot of time looking at numbers and sales, and I think about it both in terms of dollar amounts and then foot traffic or online order traffic. But what does that look like? How many brides and high schoolers are you seeing a year?
We're
roughly?
seeing a lot of folks.
Okay.
We're very, very fortunate in the fact that we get a lot of traffic.
Okay.
So we're seeing around about 30,000.
I just saw a purple prom dress. I saw a green one. So
you completely understand why I asked to be on the side.
This is fantastic. So you're seeing a lot of people come through your store, which is really neat. And I know you mentioned there's an event taking place nearby with a ton of people. They must have 1,000 people standing in line to get into a new store that's opening. But you have a line like that looks like, I presume, the line to get into your favorite store or restaurant in their busy season. But you have a line around the corner, you said, during those seasons, prom season. And
Yes. We've gone back to the second Pegasus before, so that's how we measure things. One year before we expanded, we've got a total of 63 dressing rooms now.
63?
Yeah, so we had 50 before. And so we basically, before we expanded, we had the line, which is our dressing rooms in the back of the store. And it went all the way to the front of the store, then went out one door and then wrapped around and then went down a little ways, and we have it's on TikTok somewhere. Okay. Someone was kind enough to film it for us because we weren't filming, we were running.
You were busy.
So we've had the line get pretty steep at times, but that's why we expanded. We expanded because we know that our guest time is valuable, and we want to do everything we can to help our guests efficiently and quickly. And so we expanded to have that wait time be reduced. In addition to we really work on training to being as efficient as possible during season and off season, so that our guests are waiting no longer than needed be.
So from a business perspective, this is actually good if you don't mind reviewing this. So 63 dressing rooms, what does that equate to in about square footage? Because you did expand, and your footprint is really large, square footage wise, it seems.
It's decent. It's about 17,000 square feet.
17,000, wow. That's a good size in square footage.
Yes.
And 63 dressing rooms, is that more than any other bridal place? I've never seen a store, not even, I don't think Macy's and Nordstrom and some of these big department stores have that many.
I can't really speak on that because I really don't know how big how many dressing rooms they have. So I don't think I'm qualified. I just know how many we have.
That is absolutely incredible. And you mentioned training. What are you doing from a training perspective? You have interns, so interns have the ability to learn the business. But how do you train and get your team ready for this experience that you're giving other people?
We do a lot of training. We do training every single Saturday morning. So we have meetings every single Saturday morning. In addition, because we are seasonal. So it's just, like you mentioned, just like Christmas. So prom season is our Christmas. Okay. And so we've got to get ready for that. So we basically hire about 30 additional team members for our season. And so we have classes starting December 1st on Monday and Wednesday evenings. So we go through a whole education process of body types, fabrics, what's going to look best on these types of bodies, educating them on what vendors we have, our operating system, et cetera, et cetera. And so we go through these classes, we do a little test, and then we evaluate, and we role play, and then they do, several follow shifts with our senior consultants, and then we let them loose with one room.
Amazing.
So we place them in various positions, everywhere from sales associate to working customer service, hostess, website fulfillment, and different areas. So it's a program we've been doing for over 15 years.
That's me. So how many weeks does the training?
The training lasts about 5 weeks.
And that's impressive. Okay.
So, and it's just training during that period of time before they're set free.
Well, and that's neat, because training, I was just on a call, in fact, yesterday with a person that owns a training company, and they provide a variety of different training from HR to sales and the like. So for you to invest that much quality in your customer from the training to making sure that everyone is prepared to provide that experience is just so critical. And I'm sure everyone has, especially in hospitality, they have their favorite places, hotel or restaurant where they go and they feel good because the experience is great. And I presume the same thing on your end. The difference is if it's a restaurant, we're visiting a restaurant every few weeks or every few months. On the wedding side and the prom, those are generally one-in-a-lifetime experiences that you're preparing your workers for. So getting that right is just critical, it sounds like.
It is, but we also are very fortunate to have a lot of social customers as well. And they do have their favorites. They will come back in and ask for a lot of our regular seasonal team members. I've been very fortunate and been blessed with an amazing Terry Costa team here, where many of the team members have been with the company for well over a decade.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then that's good to hear. I hadn't had that on my list of questions to ask. And I usually ask businesses about the longevity of their team because it says a lot about how you treat your employees.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, they just put up with me, really. Don't tell anyone. But yes, so we have team members that have been with us for a long time. We also have a lot of seasonal team members as well.
They come back every season?
They come back every season.
That's amazing.
And so they might, we have some that have regular occupations who are making really great money, but like, hey, I need some supplemental income. I want to, pay my house off or whatever it is they've got their goals set on, and they'll come back for supplemental income from us. And I'll have past interns that come back too. So it's really great to get those seasonal workers.
I suspect they come back for more than just the supplemental income. It's neat when you can go and you can have something to look forward to each year. There's some events where I volunteer and I go just because I enjoy the event. Right, whatever that event is, I enjoy it every year. So I'm sure they come back because they love seeing these young people that are getting married, and they love seeing the people come in for their prom dresses. It's neat. I'm just having an amazing experience watching all these people walk by.
Yes, it's an experience, definitely, and they're, that's part of their why. We're doing an exercise right now in our meetings, and we started it actually in the summertime of why do you work at Terry Costa? Because we always can work. You can work somewhere to make a living, but you get to choose where you work.
Absolutely.
And so we kind of are going through why are you choosing to work at Terry Costa?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's a note that I made from your stand-up, and I wrote down your why in joining Terry Costa, and I heard some of the people discuss their why. The other thing you did was your shout-outs. And so for the other CEOs and managers and executives that are listening in, why is that important? Those shout-outs and your why. Why is it important for them to tell everyone else in that stand-up meeting their why?
Well, the why is it's different for everyone.
It is.
I'm learning, and I'm also learning how persistent I've been sometimes. But everyone has their why, and it's refreshing to see why everyone is working here, and it's important to know why they work here too, so you can keep on doing those things. So it's been a fun exercise, and the shout outs and need to know is basically there may be things that someone else saw that I didn't see. I'm not here every single second. This week we had a photo shoot, so I was out a couple of days with that photo shoot. So everyone will see different aspects, and we're all here to learn from one another.
And that's neat. I think sometimes CEOs can kind of become stuck in their own world, and they forget to step back to understand what is it that motivates other people. And that's an opportunity for you to motivate other people by hearing their why, and then other people hearing their why as a motivation for why the organization is special.
Yeah, well, it actually helps motivate me too.
Well, tell me why though, as a CEO of an organization.
Well, just basically knowing that there's, their why, and, for today we had Maria, and hers was about gratitude. And so, obviously that's extremely rewarding for me to know that someone actually feels gratitude towards that, or that people actually enjoy dressing people up and making them feel good about themselves. And so I really think that the why helps motivate me to keep going.
Right.
Yes.
Well, so I want to ask you about your brands that you carry, because I don't know the industry well. I've seen Magus Atero, and their product is incredible from what I've seen. But I want to mention AI for a moment. I know there's so much talk around the globe on AI and how it impacts businesses and organizations. And it impacts at different levels on the business, but I suspect you might use maybe some AI in the background. But this is a people business, which I love. And AI will not replace the experience people get in finding the right dress, Right. So I don't know if you've analyzed that from a business perspective, but I love your comments, if any, on AI and this being a people business and why that people aspect and that hospitality is so critical.
Well, I think that's a good point. AI is definitely making advances, and I'm just on the surface of learning it. We're getting ready to implement a new customized system here, but it's just got a little bit of AI in it. Of course, we use it for writing our website descriptions and simple things like that. Whether I see it taking over this industry, I don't see how. I can see that it could help. It could definitely help, and there's aspects that we could use, but I would hate to see it lose that personal touch, that human touch. Even though they've got the mechanism, I can't think of the name of it, in Google, where they can have someone can try on the dress. I'm like, you're really, even though you might, the way a person looks in their street clothes versus the way they're going to look in an evening gown is really different. Like it's even hard for us. It's even hard for me when I see someone in their street clothes to dress them until I get them in a dress. Then I can see what's happening, and then that helps me more strategically pull the right dress. So it really does take that human touch and sort of the analysis of what's happening, what's going on here to get the right dress, and sort of a trial and error too.
I've seen a number of organizations that are created and businesses created where they have you try on, let's say, a pair of glasses, just see what it looks like virtually. So they show your face and they show you what you look like with those glasses, or you can position furniture in your home to see what it could look like. But there's absolutely nothing that can replace seeing what you look like in a dress, because it's going to vary by design and how it feels and fits, and you think you might look great, but you need to be here. Right. And you need someone with your team's expertise to help you understand it.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's some things that just can't be replaced.
Right.
By the actual human touch.
Now, I know we're nearing our end. I have so many additional questions. I need to bring you on 5 more times at least. But one of the items that I am still learning, in Texas, they have these mums for homecoming. Have you? It's an incredible experience. So I've been asking all of my Texas friends. Well, in fact, I spoke to someone from Louisiana because I thought maybe Louisiana is taking on something similar. That is uniquely Texan. Are you familiar with mums and the homecoming? And, if anyone is listening or watching the program, look up Texas mums. It is such an incredible experience for a high schooler around homecoming.
Yes. Well, we would like for the dress to be the experience, but there is this mum thing in Texas. Now, being from Missouri, when I first got here, I was like, what are you talking about? Mums. And so, they showed me, and we actually, for a few years, we did a mum contest with the cheer groups, and then we gave a scholarship, and we put the mums in the center of the store. Yeah. But, it's just part of a Texas tradition, and, thank goodness we still do homecoming here, which I'm grateful for.
So am I.
I
love those traditions, by the way, in high school. Homecoming and prom, and there's just the pageantry around it is so uplifting, I think. And you're right. I'm glad it's still done.
Yes, I'm glad it's still done. And, kind of going back to, I know AI and social media and all that, but I just really think that it's real important for us as a society to keep as much human touch and interaction going as possible.
And you mentioned that during COVID, there were a few neighbors, and I just moved to Texas, a few neighbors that I didn't know, but during COVID, I never saw them. I would see food delivered to their door and sitting on their porch, and I never saw them. I was so happy when we could get back and talk and engage, and just to see. I at one point I lived near a resort, and I would always hear people at the pool, and they're playing the pool games, and I found it refreshing. Some people probably were annoyed by the kids playing the different games. I find it refreshing. And it's the same thing being in your store, hearing all the chatter in the background. I'm sure you're probably twitching a little because you're thinking there's someone that needs you. I'm loving this. Just the noise and the energy that I can see on the other side of the curtain that's blocking the view. It's just that human touch is so critical. And the prom experience, the wedding experience is all about that human connection, right?
That's correct. And that makes us really blessed here at Terry Costa because we get to share those fun experiences with our customers, because that's really what we're trying to do here.
Right.
When they come in, we're fortunate that they walk through the front doors, but we really just want to have some fun and find a dress that they love.
So tell me about the Miss Texas pageant. You've been very involved in the pageant, right? For a while.
Yes, we've been involved in the pageant. I'm very fortunate to have a great team that helps with that. Sergio Armez helps with the whole pageant. I've kind of turned it over to him, but yes, we work with the Miss Texas organization quite a bit each year as a sponsor. So it's a fun event each year, and it's fun meeting the girls each year.
Now, all of the contestants, they're wearing a Terry Costa dress.
Yes,
yes. That is an impressive sponsorship, by the way. I've seen the national and international pageants, and I see the dress sponsor, and I accidentally attended the Miss Texas pageant. I just happened to be staying at the hotel, and it was so much fun. And then I saw your name everywhere, and just to see all of the contestants enjoying their Terry Costa dress. So do they all come in and go shop for a dress?
Well, we sponsor a dress for like the closing number.
Fantastic.
And then a lot of them do come and shop for their dress. Not necessarily all of their evening gown competition is from Terry Costa, but we do have some. And so, they're always a lot. The pageant girls are a lot of fun to work with. Yes.
And I'd love to end with this. We covered so much, and I have a long list. I wanted to ask you about a trunk show for people not familiar with the way. What is a trunk show? A trunk show is
basically when we have a collection of dresses from a particular designer, one of our designers that we carry, and generally the designer will attend as well.
Yes.
And so you're here to meet with the designer and basically feature their collection with some of the designers, like our more couture designers such as Sherry Hill. She'll be here. She'll be able to sketch out a customized dress for you.
Nice.
If you'd like to know, those are in more of the higher price point, but we also have her prom collection as well. So it's just fun to get her autograph and take a picture with the designer.
Cool. So there's a whole ecosystem in this business, and you're right in the middle of it. The idea of being able to meet a designer just seems like a great experience and opportunity for anyone looking for a dress. Now, I spoke to a friend, and I asked, she's, again, just above Gen Z, where do you go to find the right dress store? And it's not as easy as in my day. I looked in the yellow pages, in the telephone book. But today, she mentioned this to me. She mentioned that she would go to TikTok and view postings by influencers on their wedding dress shopping experience. And so I presume that's how people are finding maybe this podcast, but also wedding dress stores. And so the dynamics are changed on marketing. And I know that you're right in the middle of your marketing processes and making sure that you can connect with people looking for a wedding dress or prom dress. But your story is just amazing. It's so energizing being in here and feeling the whole environment, seeing the beautiful dresses and the sparkle. And so I appreciate all that you're doing within the wedding dress industry. If you had to tell anyone looking for the right dress for any occasion, what would you tell that person? If they're looking on TikTok or Instagram or regular internet and Google, I heard you mention your Google feedback earlier today. What would you tell that person looking to find a good home for a dress?
Just find a dress that makes you feel confident and makes you feel empowered and makes you feel beautiful. Because it's their special day, and they're the ones wearing the dress. And so we're just here to help you fulfill your dreams.
I love it. Well, and that's the one item that I noted on my list of items, that you are absolutely helping people to live their dream, whether it's their dream wedding or their dream prom or their dream event, because these non-for-profit galas and the like, those are still dreams that we carry with us as adults, whether we're 50 or 60, but having that right dress. In fact, I'm headed to one tonight.
Okay.
I am, and so we've got to make sure we have the right outfit. But those are special moments. Those events make living fun, right?
Yes, it makes living fun. I mean, it's really, those moments are your time to shine.
Right,
So,
it is.
Yes.
Tina, you're fabulous. And I appreciate you taking time to come on our program.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman.
Thank you for listening to Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. Please be sure to subscribe and share, and stay tuned for more incredible Business Decoded episodes.